the money in the stock market is not how many monitor your stock. The money in the stock market is how you position well and how you follow your rules. People always think na binantayan mo yung stock mo every minute, kikita ka na, wala naman dun eh. Yung pera sa stock market, anong ginagawa mo sa gabi para sa umaga, ready ka, alam mo kung ano gagawin mo. Kung sa gabi, kaya napapansin mo, lahat ng stocks very close, ginagawa ko sa gabi kasi sinasabay ko lang din lahat ng pag-analyze ko sa sarili ko stocks, also sa gagawin ko sa morning. So sa gabi, walang sell signal, I can go on with my day. No compelling reason for me na kailangan ko na kagad mag-login para magbenta. In the same way, sa gabi, resistance, hindi niya na-break, lalagin ako sa umaga. Pag nakita ko talagang, no, hindi na talaga na-break, enter na ako ng anong price ko gusto ibenta. So, the money is not in the monitoring. The money is ano ginagawa mo habang sarado yung market. In this video, we have Aisha Fajardo, who will ask me questions, and that's what we've been doing over the past few days, YouTube subscriber questions. Kasi kaya ako to ginagawa, kasi feeling ko, may mga questions si Aisha na some of you, yun din yung gusto nyong malaman. So, hitting two birds with one stone, kasi hindi ko kayo nare-replyan lahat sa mga nagme-message sa Facebook. Pasensya na, hindi ko talaga kayo nare-replyan. Wala akong nare-replyan sa Facebook. Ngayon si Aisha, alam niya yung technique eh. Saan mo ako message, Aisha?
Messenger.
Anyways, so Aisha, before we start, so that people remember you, any memorable stock na nabili mo? Sabi mo you've been investing for 1 year.
JFC po.
Okay, bakit? Bakit naging memorable naman for you?
Kasi nung binili ko siya, yun yung, bagsak yung price niya.
Okay.
Then,
a few months ago.
Yes, opo.
Okay.
Nung binili ko siya in bulk, sabi ko, sige, on sale to. Kasi alam kong mahal yung JFC and I want to be part of a company na looking forward to be global. So sabi ko, sige, push ko to. And then, matagal-tagal bago siya nag-up. Kinakabahan na rin ako and sabi ko, magka-cut loss na siguro ako dito. Pero hindi ko ginawa and fortunately, tumataas na siya ngayon. And yun, nanood po ako ng videos ninyo about JFC. So, I'm looking forward for it to be upward trend.
Okay. So, naalala mo, anong month yung... So, bumibili ka in bulk lang? Isang bulk lang na gano'n? O bumibili ka pa rin also in different tranches?
Right now po, bumili ako in bulk. So, around, po yun? April ata yun or March.
So halos 90 plus tsaka 100, nasa 105 yes. Ganyan, 110. Okay. Wow, kung 90 plus ka bumili, halos double na. Congratulations. Okay, pero hindi tayo nandito para ako magtanong. Andito tayo para si Aisha, itatanong niya sa akin. So actually, kinakabahan ako. Sinend niya sa akin kanina pero hindi ko masyado binasa para surprise. Pero lahat ng questions mo very, very interesting. At by the way, kaya pala siya nandito kasi nang bola siya. Sabi niya, pareho kayo yung wife mo nag-MBA, ako rin nag-MBA ako. So, fastest way para makasama sa podcast mang bola. Hindi, joke lang. Anyways, let's go. Aisha, let's do this.
What do you think is the best way to know if it is the right time to add stocks, even if all of your stocks are in green or gaining profit right now?
Okay, babalikan kita with a question. Ano to, investing or trading?
Both po.
It does not mean na green. It does not mean na hindi ka pwede magdagdag eh. Yung way for you to buy is not na dahil up ka or down. Yung way for you to buy is, kung sabi mo trading, kung technicals gamit mo, may buy signal na ba yung technicals? Kung may buy signal na siya, kahit green, pumasok ka. In the same way, sa fundamentals, kung may rules ka doon sa fundamentals mo, ito yung rason kung bakit ko siya bibilin based on this criteria na fundamentals. If all of those things are still satisfied, kahit up ka, bili ka pa rin. It's more of ano yung rules na meron ka. Kasi ganun din naman eh. Kung down yung stock mo, it does not mean na bibili ka kagad eh. If the conditions for you to buy are not there, then you don't buy it also. It's never about kung up ka or down ka. It's more about what are your conditions for buying, what are your conditions for holding, what are your conditions for selling, and what are your conditions for avoiding. It's more of that.
Is it true that there's no way for stocks to go but up on a long-term perspective?
That's wrong. Kasi That's true for stocks that are good. That's true for stocks that are growing. That's true for stocks na yung dividends niya nag-i-increase. That's true for stocks na yung fundamentals niya nandun. That's true for stocks na sobrang ganda ng negosyo niya na kahit sinong kalaban na lumaban sa kanya, nahihirapan. That's true for stocks na monopoly. That's true for stocks na certainly na, for example, yung category nila or yung sector niya, well, kahit saan sila magtayo, wala silang kalaban. That's true for all of those things. Pero, if the company is bad, kahit gano'n mo katagal hawakan yung stock, hindi siya babalik eh. Or if sobrang kahit anong gawin niya, talo siya ng competitor niya, or lagi siya tinatalo ng competitor niya, kahit gano'n mo katagal hawakan, hindi siya uubra also. Or kung hindi talaga siya nag-ooperate, meaning, for example, mining company siya na hindi siya na-approve ng permit, kahit hawakan mo siya ng 10 years, habang wala siyang permit, walang mangyayari doon. It's true for companies that are good, but for companies that are not good, companies that are not growing, companies that are not earning, companies that are always beaten down, even if you hold on to them for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, it won't do well for you. I'll give you an example. Pocket Bell.
Yes, Pocket Bell.
Ayun, yung Easy Call tsaka Pocket Bell magkalaban sila. Or Beeper 150. If you bought a company na yung produkto nila, pager, kahit gaano mo katagal hawakan, kahit mag-hope ka that it will go up, pero dahil wala na silang customer, I don't think aakyat sila eh. So, yung statement na sinabi mo, it's true, pero kailangan natin dagdagan ng konting qualifier. Pag yung binibili mo, probably FM ETF or the index, possible. Kasi yung index, totoo na bumababa siya, pero through time, it always goes back higher. So, pero pag individual stocks na yung bibilin mo, na baka walang fundamentals, no matter how long you hold on to it, baka hindi siya aakyat.
Wow. Galing nun, sir.
Ganun ba? Tama guys, comment below kung ang lakas mang bola ni Aisha. Okay, guys, comment nyo, hashtag Aisha bola. Anyways, let's continue. More questions. Ang lakas mang bola ni Aisha. Ang lakas mang bola ni
Is it important to be updated on news all the time when you are trading?
To be honest, not necessary. Kasi that's why I'm a big advocate for technicals because lahat ng kailangan ko reflected naman na sa stock price. Lagi ko sinasabi to, when you do technical analysis, everything you need to know is found on the chart. Bakit? Kung negative yung news, ano ginagawa ng mga tao? Nagbebenta sila. Or kahit negative yung news, kung hindi sila nagbebenta, it means optimistic sila kahit negative yung news, umaakyat yung stock. So you don't actually need to know kung ano yung news. Basta alam nyo lang kung ano yung certain parameters nyo when you're looking at the technical. So let me tell you this. Kung hindi mo titingnan yung news, kailangan alam mo yung technicals. Very, very important. Especially for trading. Kung investor ka, kahit di mo alam yung news, pero alam mo yung fundamentals, okay ka pa rin. So, I think that's more important. And there are times, pag nakita ko sa chart, may buy signal na siya pag tinitignan ko yung chart. Tapos binili ko. Tapos pagdating ng gabi, kaya pala siya umakyat. Meaning, I bought it without even knowing the news. So, possible na ganun. Kasi, yung flip side nun na yung nagiging problem na madaming tao is hinahanap nila kung ano yung news. Kaso please remember this, pag tinignan mo yung news, there will always be two sides to every story. Pag tinignan mo yung news, mukha siyang positive sa'yo, pero to other people, baka hindi positive sa kanila. Nagkataon yung madaming tao na hindi positive sa kanila, mas madami sila sa'yo or mas malaki pera nila or institution sila. Di kahit mukha siyang positive sa'yo, kung hindi nila bibilhin or kung binibenta nila yung posisyon nila, di bababa din yung stock. So, it's nice to know the news, pero it might not be something that will tell you the whole story also. Ako, I know the news, pero hindi yun yung ultimate decision ko on when I buy it also. So, eto pa, I'll give you an example. Nagte-technicals ka?
Yes po.
Okay, sample. Kung bad yung news, pero yung stock nag-bounce from support, bibiling ko pa rin siya. Kung good yung news, pero yung stock hindi niya na-break yung resistance, bibenta ko pa rin siya.
It's a good thing po. Kasi marami pong naapektuhan talaga sa news.
The reason why I can say this now is because matagal na rin naman ako nag-invest eh. So, napansin ko, majority of my mistakes when I was starting out was, kasi nasusundan ko yung mga news. And yung mga news items na yan, lagi magkakaroon ng bad news eh. I'll give you an example. 2013, people were scared na baka yung North Korea may missile na sila na pwedeng gawin, tapos magkakaroon ng war. Before that, people were saying na babagsak yung market kasi hindi sustainable yung talagang nangyari na pag-ayos ng state sa economy nila. So there will always be bad news. So it will either cause you to be fearful na hindi ka na talaga mag-invest dahil bad news yung makikita mo, or in the same way, mapapabenta ka kagad also. So na-realize ko, majority of my mistakes were from that kasi news will cause you to become emotional eh. Okay, so to answer your question, ito pwede nilang gawin. Decide based on kung ano yung rules nila ng technicals or fundamentals. Kung may buy signal, bili. Kung may sell signal, sell. Then sa kanila tingnan yung news para hindi sila ma-influensya ng news. Pero kasi, here's what I want to say also. Grabe no, third question pa lang yata sa second question. Humahaba yung video. Kasalanan ko bakit humahaba yung video eh. Tapos 20 questions pa to si Aisha.
Hindi
Nakalimutan ko tuloy sasabihin ko. Proceed. Sorry, nakalimutan ko.
Is PE ratio really important when buying stocks?
Dahil this YouTube channel is all about causing people to think, babalik ko yung question sa'yo. What is your definition of important?
Yung value nung binibigay sa akin ng company.
Very, very important sa'yo to know kung mura ba siya or mahal compared to kung ano man yung kinikita niya, then PE ratio is important. Kung gusto mo i-compare yung company PE ratio-wise versus its peers, then PE ratio is also important. Or kung gusto mo i-compare yung PE ratio niya, kung gusto mo makita kung mura ba siya or mahal based on yung historical range ng earnings ng company, then pwede mo siyang gamitin. But please remember this also. PE ratio is only one side of the story. It only tells you gaano ba siya kamura or gaano siya kamahal based on what it's actually earning. That's just it. Pero when you analyze a company, there's so many factors also to consider. And one way to also understand it is may mga companies kasi na ilan years na siya, pag PE ratio lang tinignan mo, teka, sobrang mura na niyan. Pero bakit di siya maakyat? Or may mga companies also that matagal na siya, sobrang mahal niya sa PE ratio niya, pero bakit hindi siya bumababa? So, PE ratio is important based on the parameters that I mentioned, pero it does not tell you also the whole story. And kasi ito nagiging pitfall na madami tao. Kahit ako nung nagsisimula ako, PE ratio na natitignan ko, pero sinasabi ko sa sarili ko, ano ba yung kailangan ko tignan na hindi ko na kailangan mag-aral tas yayaman ako? It doesn't work that way eh. Kung gusto niyo talagang to be very, very confident on what you're doing, it really requires more study. But in essence, it's a good benchmark, in my opinion, if you want to at least have what they call relative valuation, to at least know kung mura siya or mahal. And just so you know also, sa mga nanonood ng videos or at least nabasa nyo yung libro ko, I would always tell people, pag PE ratio gamit mo, you always have to compare companies that are in the same sector, pero hindi lang yun, of the same scale. Meaning, hindi ko compare yung Ayala Land sa Cebulan Masters. Totoo, pareho silang nasa property development, pero yung scale nila, yung business model nila, yung revenue sources nila magkaiba. So, it would be prudent to compare the companies in the same sector, pero in the same capacity also on how big they are. It's important, pero if you want to be holistic sa pag-analyze mo, kailangan mo pa siya banggain with other parameters.
Which time horizon is better when investing in stocks? Is it long-term or short-term? What are the pros and cons?
Ano to? Investing, trading?
More on investing, sir.
Siyempre long-term. Pag investor ka, hindi mo naman control yung galaw ng stock on a daily basis. Hindi mo naman control yung galaw ng stock on a sentiment basis eh. Tapos pag long-term ka, tas investor ka, mas actually gusto mo na bagsak eh. I'll tell you this. Noong 2018, at some point ng 2019, yung sinabi mong Jollibee, yung kwento ng tao sa Jollibee is ayaw nila bilhin kasi mahal. Diba? Pero mabibili mo lang yun if your time horizon is long and you are waiting for it na malaki yung binagsak niya. I think that's the narrative there. If your time frame is long, also kung nagkamali ka man sa bili mo and then maganda naman yung company na binili mo, time will allow you to see it come back up. Pero hindi mo magagawa yun if your time frame is very, very short. So yun lang yung difference. Kung long-term yung horizon mo, it will compensate for some of your mistakes. Kung long-term yung time horizon mo, kung magkakaroon ng big drops, it will allow you to position and put in ng malakihan versus the time na malaki siya. kung long-term yung time horizon mo, it will unleash gano'n talaga kaganda yung company. Because kung maganda siya, it means that it will span the test of time. Kung maganda siya, it will beat out its competitors. Kung maganda siya, natamaan mo siya sa pandemic, it will have the opportunity to pivot. It will have the opportunity to find other revenue sources. Kung meron man nagsara na revenue source sila because of the pandemic, pero dahil magaling sila, makikita mo that they will be able to turn things around. And if you have full confidence in that company, you have the ability also to wait na binibili mo siya 2020, 2021, 2022, walang nangyayari sa kanila pero bili ka ng bili. Tapos by the time they fully na lumabas yung earnings nung pag-pivot nila, suddenly magugulat yung mga tao and then the price will go up and dami mo nabili. So, if you are an investor, maganda na long-term yung horizon mo. If you're a trader, maganda na yung position mo sa market long-term, pero you can move in and out. Kumbaga, I always give this example, kung nanonood ka ng mga podcast ko, I would always liken investing as planting. Minsan, may tinatanim ka ng 2020 na hindi mo pa aanihin ng 2020. Pero by the time na 2023 siya, oo, boring siya kasi ayaw ng mga tao maghintay eh. Pero sometimes yung hinihintay mo na matagal, yun yung malaki talaga yung kinikita. And I'll tell you this also, sinabi ko to sa ibang videos that some of my mistakes sa investing is binenta ko siya kagad only to see it a few years back. Sana pala hinintay ko na lang, hindi ko na lang binenta. So,
oh my God.
Things like that.
Nasa verge na kasi ako ng ganyan, sir. Yung parang gusto ko na siyang ibenta, pero wait lang, long term ka, te. Parang ganon.
Babalansin ko yung sinasabi mo. Kung long term ka, pero yung rules mo to sell, nakalabas na, sinasabi na ng rules mo na benta mo na. Pero kung emotion lang yung nagsasabi sa'yo na ibenta mo na, pero yung rules mo sinasabi wag mo ibenta, huwag ka mag-login. Napansin mo ba yung pinagagamitan ko na charting software? As in, charting software lang siya. Kasi hindi ko kailangan mag-login sa broker. So that means, magla-login lang ako sa broker pag may sell signal na doon, or magla-login lang ako sa broker pag may buy signal na doon. That's one of my mechanisms to prevent me from being emotional. Kasi kung maglalagin kayo sa broker, refresh kayo ng refresh eh. And feel ko matatawa ka kasi ginawa ko rin naman yun eh. Pero, please remember this, hitting refresh over and over will not help your portfolio. It will not make it go higher. It will not make it go lower. The money in the stock market is not how many monitor your stock. The money in the stock market is how you position well and how you follow your rules. People always think na binantayan mo yung stock mo every minute, kikita ka na, wala naman dun eh. Yung pera sa stock market, anong ginagawa mo sa gabi para sa umaga, ready ka, alam mo kung ano gagawin mo. Kung sa gabi, kaya napapansin mo, lahat ng stocks very close, ginagawa ko sa gabi kasi sinasabay ko lang din lahat ng pag-analyze ko sa sarili ko stocks, also sa gagawin ko sa morning. So sa gabi, walang sell signal, I can go on with my day. No compelling reason for me na kailangan ko na kagad mag-login para magbenta. In the same way, sa gabi, resistance, hindi niya na-break, lalagin ako sa umaga. Pag nakita ko talagang, hindi na talaga na-break, enter na ako ng anong price ko gusto ibenta. So, the money is not in the monitoring. The money is ano ginagawa mo habang sarado yung market. Kasi yung misconception ng tao, they always think na habang may action eh. Pero if you follow what we've been talking about sa podcast, it's the boring things in life that will make you rich. Oo, masaya na nakita mo umaakyat yung stocks mo, pero wala naman dun eh. Nasa anong ginawa mo bago siya umakyat.
Possible po ba na maging trader ka and investor ka at the same time? Parang possible ba na nagtitrade ka din, pero meron ka ding mga for investment part?
Oo naman, pwede. Dapat paghiwalayin mo yung portfolio. Meron kang broker na pang-trade, meron kang broker na pang-invest para hindi ka magla-log-in ng sabay doon. And yun lang din yung sikreto ko eh. Meaning, pag investor ka, gusto mo yung stock, mura, mahal. Mura. So what does that mean? Habang bullish yung market, mataas yung stock, mahal siya, there's no compelling reason for me to log into that broker. Pero katulad ng March, bagsak yung market, yung portfolio ko na pang-investing, yun yung buhay na buhay. Parang ganun. So, it's more of creating mechanisms where hindi ka matitempt na mag-deviate sa rules mo. So, pwede ba yun? Just maging trader ka, mag-investor ka, pero define the rules. Kasi kung nasa isang broker lahat, mapaghahalo-halo mo eh. Especially, for example, may buy signal si PLDT as an investor, binili mo siya. Then 3 months later, nagka-buy signal siya for trading. Binili mo rin siya, di mahalo yung average mo. So meaning, binili mo to as an investor kasi ito yung rules mo, baka dividends habol mo. Binili mo to as a trader kasi, nag-breakout siya eh. You bought the same stock, pero different conditions. Yun yung ibig ko sabihin sa lahat ng mga video, wala siya sa stock na binibili nyo. Nasa condition mo siya kung bakit mo binili. Pwede tayong dalawa, sabay tayo bumili tayo, the same stock, the same price, at the same day. Pero ikaw, binili mo siya dahil sa'yo, attractive na yung dividends at that time. Sa akin, binili ko siya kasi nag-bounce siya sa support. Pareho natin siya binili, pero yung reason bakit binili natin magkaiba. And that's what people need to find out. If you're asking me from a business perspective, I think we are recovering. And I think the more this becomes, nasanay na yung mga tao dito, more and more businesses will open. So I think we're better off than where we were before.